Getting good clinical experience is essential if you plan on applying to medical school or any other health profession. And from the many opportunities out there, working as a CNA is particularly popular among pre-meds and nursing students. And while it does check the box for clinical experience, it does have its ups and downs. So if you're looking for clinical experience and are considering working as a CNA, here are some pros and cons to help make your decision, and be sure to stick around till the end of the video for my overall recommendation for whether or not I would actually recommend working as a CNA. First off, with the pros, it's great for a medical school application, and in my opinion, it's one of the strongest experiences that you can actually get for this. Medical schools want to see that you've thrown yourself into a clinical setting to actually determine whether or not medicine is something you enjoy. Pro number 2 is that it provides fantastic clinical experience with direct patient interactions. This will help you develop your communication skills, but also your bedside manner, and this blends nicely into point number 3, which is it'll give you an idea of whether or not working with patients is something that you actually enjoy, whether you're pursuing a career as a physician, a nurse, or any other medical profession. In these ways, working as a CNA allows you to effectively pull back the curtain to see how things work in a clinical setting, but it also provides you with insight to see whether or not the medical field is a right fit for you. And by the way, if after a while you decide that it's not, that's totally fine. It'd be much better for you to learn that early on about yourself and just switch to another career than to stick around in a field that's going to make you miserable. Pro number 4 is that it provides you with a sense of purpose. So it gives you a reason to wake up every day because you know that you're making a difference. I personally have been far happier working as a CNA than in any job that I had in business prior to switching over, just from this point alone. Pro number 5 is that it is incredibly rewarding. So the opportunity to take someone on their worst day and completely turn it around is nothing short of incredible. The most obvious example here would be a code blue scenario where you're performing CPR, literally acting as that patient's beating heart, and if everything goes right, you get a pulse back and that patient survives. Knowing that your actions directly contributed to their ability to get home to their family is a feeling like no other. For those of you that already have CNA experience and you would like to add something to this list, go ahead and throw those in the comments below. Moving into the cons, so let's go ahead and get this one out of the way. It is very hard work for relatively little pay. These are typically 12-hour shifts, or at least they are in a hospital setting, and you're moving the entire time, or at least you should be. Go ahead and refer to my Lazy CNA video in the description. It is very taxing both physically and mentally, so if you're opposed to hard work, you may not want to be a CNA, and in fact, you should probably look for another career field entirely. But also, if you're in a position where being a CNA isn't financially feasible, you may need to explore alternative options. One possibility here would be to work PRN or as needed. This would allow you to still get CNA experience, but would only require you to work one day every couple weeks or so, leaving your schedule open to work full-time hours in a higher paying job. Con number 2 is that as a CNA, you're pretty low on the totem pole, and sometimes you feel that. Now, this will be highly dependent on your work environment and the team you're working with, and I do think that you have a pretty solid ability to influence this depending on your work ethic and what you bring to the table. If you work your tail off and consistently show a willingness to help and to learn, you'll earn the respect of those around you to the point where this, at least for the most part, should be a non-issue. So con number 3, you knew it was coming. Working as a CNA could likely make an appearance with Mike Rowe on Dirty Jobs if it hasn't already. So unsurprisingly, when caring for sick patients, you're subjected to blood, wounds, feces, urine, and just about every other bodily solid or fluid. If you're not willing to do this and or you have a weak stomach, this may not be the right job for you. Con number 4 is that trauma and death are just part of the job, and while over time it's likely that you'll get better at dealing with this, it's never easy, and this is just something to be aware of. Stemming from that last point is con number 5, and that is that this is a high stress job. So if you don't do well in high stress situations and don't expect that you would favorably adapt to this over time, you may want to find something else to do. Furthermore, you do tend to take this job home with you. Not in the sense that you're on the clock actively working, but for example, if a patient dies, that can follow you home and weigh heavily on your heart. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. Again, for those of you who already have CNA experience, if you think I missed something that needs to be on this list, go ahead and throw those in the comments below. So would I recommend being a CNA? I would. Despite the downsides, working as a CNA is incredibly rewarding and provides you with opportunities and life experience that you just can't get doing anything else. And most importantly, it provides the opportunity to serve others in a deep and meaningful way, which is kind of why we're in it in the first place. So yes, I would recommend it. And if you're a pre-med or nursing student, I would highly recommend it. This is arguably one of the strongest experiences that you can get if you're heading into one of those professions. If you're considering working as a CNA and you have questions, ask away in the comments below. I'm happy to help however I can. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out this video on what not to do as a CNA, and then be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos.